visible at the end of the race, because the camera that takes a picture at the end of the race takes a picture of your number. So we need to be able to see the number at the end of the race. For future reference, sometimes low on your leg.
So we see on the track here, we do have our mixed B 5000. Now, this is a field of 17, spread across the men and women. So with hip number 1, we have Steve Brennan, unattached. Number 2, Amy Herbert of Knox. Number 3, Paul Farquhar, unattached. Number 4, Joe Pratt, I'm assuming unattached. Number 5, Cayman Ip of Box Hill. Number 6, David Orman, unattached. Number 7, Gary Zucala of Old Scotch. Number 8, Christine Ashton of Box Hill. Number 9, Tom Dial of unattached. Number 10, Gerard Babile of Box Hill, or unattached, which is, I know, is Isaac's dad because we've spoken about it somehow. Number 11, Rachel Johnson, Box Hill. Number 12, Dominic Mackenzie, Peelor St Bernard's. Number 13, Tiana Postons of Box Hill. Number 14, Katrina Castles, unattached. Number 15, John Curry, Doncaster. Number 16, Simon St Hill, Box Hill. And rounding it out, number 17, Daniel Donahue, unattached.
And this will be a lot easier to call, give some context, given that we don't have a combination of, 5,000 metre and 8K times that have been listed. It's just one time, one seed time for 5K. What's your time?
Yeah, and they're all not far off. I think our fastest here is 19:19 and slowest is 22.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying they will get a bit strung out as the race goes on. We'll start to see them close in a bit more as the races progress over the next couple of hours.
Yeah.
But what, 19:13, that's touch under 4 minute Ks, 350 per K.
Yeah, somewhere
355, 350, 350, 19:10. There we go, running maths.
Beautiful. Damn. Look at Dora the Explorer in front of us here. I've just never seen a bigger backpack. So these guys...
No context.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. Steve's standing in front of us and he has the biggest backpack I've ever seen in my life. That's the Dora Explorer reference for you. Now, our fastest...
Doesn't translate well to radio.
No. I think our man in the blue singlet, Tom Dial, is our fastest seed time with a 19:19. So Simonson Hill of Box Hill, always in these events. It's good to see them across the board.
Absolutely. There's a few independent singlets there. A couple of singlets from, like, we've got the Midday Milers, a couple of recreational running clubs as well. Someone with the Inside Running podcast singlet right on the outside as well. So combination of community, recreational and club runners lining up in this event. As we see the crowd start to gather on the back straight, it's only going to build as the A races are on at 8:23, but the crowd is gathering a couple of hours out.
Yeah, and so these guys are going to sort themselves out. I reckon it's going to take probably a lap for 17 people to really find their positions comfortably.
And decent-sized fields tonight, I've noticed as well. Anywhere from 17 people in this up to, I think the men's B race later on this evening, last race of the evening, has 27 athletes on the start list. So they're going to be strung out by about a minute. These athletes are going to be strung out by about 2 to 3 minutes.
Well, I was talking to somebody today and I was mentioning, you know, how hot this man's A 5K is going to be, only to then get a message from Nathan Pearce saying, don't forget about me in the B race. So a lot of these people in the B race don't want to be forgotten about. As this mixed B 5000, as I said, probably going to take 400 metres to sort themselves out. But our man, at least leading the charge, is Paul Farquhar, unattached. On his outside is our fastest athlete in the field by time, Tom Dial. And beautifully behind, on the outside, you could even say, is our Box Hill athlete in Tiana Postons. So Postons on the outside.
It's a familiar name to Milers Club races, Tiana Postons. And I've called her a few times. Now, it will be interesting. Some of these athletes could very well be their first time racing on a track, maybe, judging by a few of the Rec Running Club singlets that we're seeing. And if so, I know I just did reps on a track for the first time in about 15 months the other night. And I got so confused looking down my GPS and stopping myself from looking at my K-pace, trying to get myself back on, look at your 400-metre splits and start doing the stopwatch.
It is different, isn't it?
After so long of going back to the Garmin, especially over isolation and kind of stepping away from the track for a little bit, it's a bit of an interesting thing to adjust to, which a few of these athletes might be.
I'll tell you what, if I wasn't doing race calling, I'd forget which way to run on the track. So the fact that these guys can translate across, I'm very impressed. So we are going to see Tom Dial leading us out there. So too Tiana Postons on the outside of Gerard Babile. Gerard Babile, father of Isaac, I believe. And maybe if we have Isaac on here later, he can confirm for us. This might be his first ever track race.
Well, there you go.
So Gerard Babile, hopefully he has his own YouTube channel. But it's going to be Tiana Postons on the outside. And I love this mixed event as well because there are so many men and women who have similar PBs and we separate them and the races get spread apart and it takes forever. Grouping them together, letting them race off against each other is just such a fantastic idea.
Yeah, and as we said earlier as well, it just like the underage races we saw today, all milers club races are men, women, and seeded times. You go to states and it's age groups. Tonight there's some mixed races. There's no one good way of doing things. It's just all different. To get a season of athletics where you can have some mixed races, you can have some age group races, can have some seeded races, then I think it's just good to have that balance and try a few different things when you're running in athletics.
100%. And look at this front pack. 3 women, 3 men. So great to see them all spread up. And it's going to be Tiana Postons, Box Hill, home track, mixed event, wants to take the win. We love that. She's going to put her foot down. So too our ladies in that pack. We're going to get their bib numbers. Joe Pratt, I believe that is, tucked in on the inside, and so too Christine Ashton. So Postons puts 5 metres into them. The man who's going to try and peg them back right now is going to be Dominic McKenzie. Gerard Babile also in there, and tucked in nicely on the outside there, Christine Ashton of Box Hill. So Christine Ashton now going to move around Gerard Babile. So we might see a Postons Ashton 1-2 along this back straight. As I say that, Ashton's comfortable to sit and lead this chase pack. Tom Dial, the one on the inside. So it is still going to be Tiana Postons. Not afraid to lead this out. A Keilor St Bernard's athlete, I believe, in Dominic McKenzie. He's just biding his time. He's going to be the one to go with there. So I know it's a 5,000, but you still don't want to give people too much room. Watch in the middle of that pack, though, that's chasing. There's a lot of movement going on there, and we have another athlete who's just latched onto the back of that with the hat on. 1995 on the bib. That's David Orman. So David Orman now gets onto the back of that.
And we can see a few different packs forming. And we mentioned earlier we might see this bit more as the evening progresses. What we were talking about is some of our A races later on, Mitch. Just as the athletes settle into this 5,000, let's just touch on them. Now, at, what do we have? 8:37 will be the women's A 5,000 and 9:02 will be the men's A 5,000.
Yep.
And with the men's A 5,000 in particular, we will have 2 or 3 packs.
Yep.
The first pack will be a pack of 1, Stewie McSwain, who is going for the Australian record. He'll be paced out by a couple of athletes and going for that 12:55, Craig Mottram's record. Which is going to be unbelievable. So 9:02 that race will be. And then a second pack, can you believe the second pack will be going for Olympic qualifiers for the likes of Matt Ramsden, Ryan Gregson, Dave McNeil, Brett Robinson, and they'll be paced out by a couple of athletes. None other than Jack Rayner, who has an Olympic qualifier himself. He's going to be doing the pacemaking for them.
Oh, it's just, I know Steve was talking about it earlier, then he felt obliged to give people the ability to get that Olympic qualifier, but it is amazing that we've been able to put on, I say we've done nothing, but the people have been able to put on this race, this high caliber event for the men and the women as well, but to watch Stewie McSween potentially knock down a 12:55, put in your minds here, that's 62 seconds a lap.
Yeah.
That's 31-second 200s for 12.5 laps.
And the winds, there is some wind here at Box Hill right now, but it's just a bit of a flutter. We're hoping it drops down a little bit more over the next couple of hours, which it is forecast to. So we'll see how that goes. The women's as well, as we said, the women's race, there is going to be a couple of pacemakers for the women 5K. and they will be heading for an Olympic qualifier as well of 15:10 for their Olympic qualifier. The likes of Izzy Bat-Doyle and Rose Davies, who went head-to-head at the Zatopek race. They'll be going head-to-head again tonight. Melissa Duncan, first time on the track for a while, from my memory anyway. They'll be heading for that Olympic qualifier paced at 15:10. So that race is at 8:37 this evening, and that's not even the end of it.
I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, also in that women's A race, like, you've got Georgia Hansen, who I don't think has run a 5K. So she's going to be thrown almost to the wolves and say, hey, you've run well over the 3K, you've done well over the Vic Miles. Let's see what you got when you step it up with people going for Olympic qualifiers. So it's going to be really interesting just to see how that unfolds. Obviously, Jen Gregson, Callie Thackeray are going to be doing the pacemaking there. Two high-caliber athletes. So it's just an unbelievable... You would literally be seeing these sort of fields all across Europe. And we've got it right here in Box Hill.
And just back to the race for one moment, Mitch. We will continue to preview the other races over the next couple of hours, right up until they start, with the men's A 1,000 metres at 8:23. But the the pack just then went through at a time of 7:40, which is at 3:50 per K. So we were talking about that 3 minutes 50 per K, getting the athletes in this race a 19:10. Which would be a PB for everyone in the field. The highest seeded athlete right now is 19:19, and that is, I think that is Jared Bibley, actually. Yeah, it looks like it is Jared Bibley at 19:19. So going 3:50 per kilometre. Perfect pacing, which they have done for the first 2Ks.
Yeah, tough running from Tiana Postons. As you mentioned, the wind is still here, so they've just let her go, really. I mean, I know that they can do a lot of work late, but she's looking comfortable. They've given her the benefit of just being able to find her rhythm, find that pattern. Our man behind her there in Dominic McKenzie as well, he's just been biding his time towards the front of that. And it is, again, woman, man, man, woman. So great to see the mix-up of this. It's going to be Gerard Billet behind Christine Ashton of Box Hill. So our two Box Hill ladies absolutely sticking it to the field. And the one separating them right now is Dominic McKenzie. But it is all Tiana Postons out in front, looking really smooth as well. I was going to bring up earlier, now, the super shoes that we've spoken about. We didn't obviously see any in the 1,000. There is going to be a bulk of super shoes across the 5,000 metre events. As I see a pair run past us right now on Simonson Hill of Box Hill.
Now, by super shoes, Mitch, what exactly are we talking about? Are we talking high stack foam?
Yeah.
Are we talking... We're not talking the spikes, of course.
All of the above. Anything that
shoes that look super that all the new companies are bringing out.
It's just the ones that they put you on the tilt. They got the carbon fibre. They got whatever else in them. I am the most old school bogan running kind of all time. Just shoes are shoes, but apparently they're not anymore. So I don't know what Tiana Postons has, but she is absolutely moving out in front. So if you are following along a particular athlete here tonight, do feel free to chuck in a go Tiana Postons or whoever else you are supporting onto the feed. But it is Tiana Postons. On the outside of there is Christine Ashton coming over the top of Dominic McKenzie. And behind there, Paul Farquhar. He's been looking comfortable. Gerard Bibillet. And we see, I believe, let me get a bit of confirmation here. Yeah, our fastest seed time, Tom Dial. He's dropping off the back. Our man in blue, he's stuck in no man's land a little bit. And look at this. Tiana Postons is going to lead out Christine Ashton. So Ashton now is going to say, hey, boys, you want someone to finally do this for you? Let me do it. So Christine Ashton going to put these three guys behind her on her back and try and peg it back to Tiana Postons, who's done a lot of work, and she does need some help. And now we're going to see Christine Ashton. She's going to creep up on Postons now, Mick.
Absolutely. At about the halfway mark, or thereabouts, we'll be looking for the athletes to come through the 3K in a time of 11:30, which will put them on track. And when we say the athletes, there's a spread of seed times going from 19:19 all the way to 22 minutes. So a bit hard to track the athletes towards the back of the field time-wise right now. We'll try our best as they move through the field. But Tiana Postons heading for a time in the low 19s and coming through 3K in 11:26, 11:27 will set her up perfectly. But it is the last 2Ks of a 3K. it often starts to, shall we say, Box Hill burn.
I was about to say,
the legs might Box Hill a bit.
That's where Scruffy the black dog starts scratching at the door. You really start to evaluate a few things in the final. I would say that second last K really puts you to the test. Like, you could be feeling amazing, and then all of a sudden you go, wait a minute, I've got 2 Ks left in this thing. And so now Tiana Postons, I don't know what she's thinking. Honestly, I think what she's thinking is, I feel phenomenal. And if Christine Ashton wants to come and help me feel even better, then that would be fantastic. So it is Postons and Ashton.
It's probably best case scenario if Ashton just takes over Postons right now and can have just a bit of a rest for a couple of laps. It's not easy to have that patience to let someone pass you and just sit in, but sometimes it can be a valuable race tactic.
No, and it's holding on from there as well. Once you get past mentally, even if you are a little bit fatigued, which Postons might be, you've just got to hold on. I mean, only for a period of time. The last 600 metres of a race are free, so if you can make it until then, you're absolutely in for a fair shake of the sauce bottle. So we're going to see Postons still on the inside there. Now maybe coming to make her move to the lead is going to be Christine Ashton. So watch these two hopefully work together. Unsure if training partners, but at least club mates. 8 and 13. They are stride for stride, and they're also moving away from our gentleman behind them here, Mick. So these guys are going to have to do a serious amount of work to get up to Ashton. They let her go. They let her make a move on her own. 4 laps to go. And Ashton, right on the shoulder, not out in lane 2, but in the outside of lane 1, and it is Paul Farquhar leading out Dominic McKenzie and Gerard Babile. I saw a comment on there saying, go Gerard Babile. So he's obviously got some supporters in the online sector.
Could have been from Isaac himself. Always logged on.
Get off YouTube. You're at the track. Come on now. Let's stay present.
Tom Dial coming through in next position there. We have Joe Pratt is continuing her fine form around the bend. It's just come through, 3.4 Ks now. 4 laps to go for these athletes out in front for Christine Ashton and Tiana Postons. So Christine Ashton in front now. Can Tiana Postons just be, well, it's smart, it's mentally tough, it's just hanging out on the heels. It looks like Christine Ashton has passed with a bit of gusto.
Yeah,
and Postons, it's, as we said, that 1.5, 2 Ks to go in a 5K. I always say about, you've got to be feeling good 2/3 of the way through a race. And if you are, anything can happen. But if you're not, well, you know exactly what's going to happen.
It is a long way to the finish line when you hit there. But look, Ashton bode her time. I don't know. So if anyone's really good at English, please tell me if I get it right or wrong. I'm going to say boded.
Nick Bowden her time.
Nick Bowden her time. G'day, Nick. We see Christine Ashton. She has executed a race plan that I can only assume she had before the race to perfection. She's now putting 15 to 20 metres into Tiana Postons, who's done a lot of the work. And now these gentlemen, led by Paul Farquhar, he may be the one who might be able to start to bring Postons back a little bit. So Tiana Postons over this final 1,200, 1,100 now as she goes through that 300-metre mark. She's just going to have to hang tough. We see Tom Dial come past us here as well. But it is Christine Ashton. So she started at the back of that pack, then was the one to lead us straight up to Postons, and now she's blown right past her. She's put 40 metres into Postons in the last 450 metres of the race. So she's looking incredible out in front.
Absolutely. Perfectly timed race. So we'll get a 4 kilometre. Oh, she's just gone through the 4 kilometre split, actually. She's heading for a sub 19-minute 5K right now. She headed through that.
And keep in mind, Christine Ashton's PB, 19:25. So she's looking for a 25-second plus PB right now, Christine Ashton. And she's going to do it on her own in the last 1,000. That is tough running. So 800 metres to go, 4.2K in those legs and super shoes for Christine Ashton. 15:56 was it, Nick?
Yeah, so has about 3.5 minutes to do so, and she's been travelling at a pace of 3 minutes 40, a tick under 3 minutes 40 per kilometre. So covering the last 800 metres in that pace when she's just increasing her pace isn't going to be a problem.
No, and she's looking really good. I mean, Tiana Postons as well, I will say, she did put a gap into Tiana Postons, but she's maintained her pace and rhythm incredibly well there in second place. So Postons still in second place, about 50-odd metres, just to show how fast Christine Ashton is now going to close out this final 600. As I mentioned, final 600 is free. So all she's got to do is survive here, and she's not just going to survive, she's going to absolutely relish it, I reckon. So 600 to go there for Ashton. Postons making her way up the back straight. Farquhar going to lead these men right up to the shoulder of Postons as well over this next 200, I believe, and that is Dominic McKenzie. So he stayed true. The man behind him there is Gerard Bibillet. But 500 metres to go. You can't hear Nick Wall, but I certainly can. He's called it before me. 500 to go for Christine Ashton. And she looks incredible. You will get a really good judge of how close she's going to be to that 19-minute mark, or how far under it when she comes through with 400 metres to go. But Christine Ashton, 80, 90 metres in front, I reckon, with 1 lap to go. 17:23 on the clock, Mick.
She'll well and truly go under that 19-minute mark. It's just how far under, and she'll collect a PB of 30-plus seconds. No worries at all.
Well, that sounds easy when we say that. It's 30-second PB. That's outrageous. 17:38 on the clock for Postons. Here comes Farquhar as well. So he's bided his time. McKenzie could not quite go with him there. So McKenzie comes through now, but on the back straight, Christine Ashton, an absolute perfect execution of a 5,000-metre race. She's got 250 to go, Mick.
In saying this as well, these athletes, Farquhar, McKenzie, they've all got PBs of the around mid-1930s, so they're going to collect PBs as well. Might not be a 30-second PB of Christine Ashton, but these gentlemen who have just passed the or come into their bell lap will expect to get PBs around 19:20 or so. So 5-10 second PB if they hold solid in this last lap. As the camera is on Ashton, she hasn't broken her technique or style the whole time. She just keeps looking better and better. 100 metres to go. 18:30. Her PB before this was 19:25. She is going to absolutely smash it, Mitch.
She has smoked it here, Mick. What a way to start the 5,000s. 18:45. Woo-hoo-hoo. Now, I ran
40-second
I ran a
PB.
5K this morning around 21 minutes. So she has blown me out.
You wouldn't want to be racing Christine Ashton tonight,
we got a
Mitch.
sprint down here right now. Postons, Farquhar as well. Farquhar on the shoulder. Postons grits her teeth, but it's going to be Farquhar. 19:04, 19:05. Postons cooked. Sensational racing. McKenzie as well. He's got a 19:30, so he's dipped under.
That's it. So about a 25-second PB for Farquhar. Almost 30 seconds for McKenzie. PB for Postons as well.
20:07 Babile PB. He's run 19:28.
Almost a 40-second PB for Babile as well. Homer PBs. He keeps saying it, Mitch. No one believes you. It's true. I've seen it.
PBs. We see our athlete nearly go through for another
Nick
lap.
Wall, playing commentator slash official.
I think he's done. Yep, he's called it. Well done, Nick
Tom
Wall.
Dial, 9:19. So Tom Dial just misses out on his PB. Amy Herbert, 19:50. She collects a PB by a second or two as well.
So David Orman, 20:30 his PB. So he's done a 30-second PB. Under 20 minutes as well.
Huge.
Sensational. Stops the phone on his shoulder and says, under 20. Thank you very much.
Steve Brennan here. Did a coaching course with Steve Brennan this year. Wealth of knowledge and experience in running and coaching, Steve Brennan.
Would you say a PB? 20:30 he's got?
Well, his PB would be ridiculously quick, but we could say a season's best absolutely for Steve Brennan. So
well
20:30, 10 seconds season's best for Steve Brennan.
Weapon?
Yeah, his
runners.
Yeah, weapon runners.
Love
his
that.
He does a lot of mountain running, Steve. So yeah,
looks like a weapon.
Wouldn't like to guess what his PB is. It would be quick.
So our man, Daniel Donahue, 20:30, he's going to just miss his PB here tonight. But sensational racing. As we see the rest of our field come through now, let's get a look at what they're going to run. Can't quite see. A Doncaster athlete, I reckon that's 20:45. So he might just be over. And we see Rachel Johnson, 21:22. So she's gone under.
Oh, PB.
Yeah.
PB again.
Katrina Castles.
21:58. 50-second PB from Katrina.
Well done, Katrina.
Huge.
Massive.
Let me guess, Mitch. Another PB.
Simonson Hill. He's got a 22 minutes. 21:20.
Oh, my God. 40
Big
seconds.
PB.
You get a PB. You get a PB.
Everyone gets a PB. Carmen Imp, 21:20. Just over.
Just misses PB.
Just over.
Almost everyone gets a PB.
Whoa. What a way to start the 5Ks.
Oh, wait. That's all done. We were expecting 22, 23 minutes, weren't we?
22.
21.
Simonson Hill was our slowest
That's
time.
tidied up the timetabling for Steve Deneen a bit, giving a bit of room for officials to
Look
clean
at
up
Simon
and
in
stuff.
front of us. He's gone across 3 chairs. He knows what he's done. You can see him on your screen here.
Unreal.
He's gone across the 3 chairs. Great racing.